Is he seriously injured? Sophie asked. He's in the emergency room. He must have suffered severe injuries. He was shot. Felix had a glum look on his face. He had made a poor choice out of panic. In actuality, he should not have asked Sophie to come to the hospital. Everyone from the Lombard family will arrive soon. How should I explain Sophie's existence to old Mr. Lombard later? What? Seeing Felix act that way, Sophie knew it had to be serious. I'll go in and have a look. Sophie was experienced in treating gunshot wounds. Besides, she was also hesitant to let someone else treat Tristan's injury. Sophie, I don't think you should go inside. After all, you haven't even begun taking classes yet, despite having applied to the University of Medicine. Felix was aware of Sophie's extraordinary talents. However, it was related to Tristan's life. He could not take the risk. Charles and Sean both rushed over as soon as they heard the news. When they noticed Felix's body was covered in blood, their faces darkened. Damn it! Who has the audacity to assassinate Tristan and Felix? Before they could ask anything, the doctor came out. Sophie hurried over the moment she saw the doctor. How are things? How's my boyfriend? Ms. Tanner, the location of the bullet is very tricky. There's currently nothing we can do about it. Didn't you just perform an operation with Professor Gulliver? Can you come in now and check on the wound? They were in Gypsdale's top hospital, and they had the best surgeons. Yet, after seeing the position of the bullet, no one dared to do anything because the man lying on the operating table was Tristan. If something happened to Tristan while he was on the operating table, the Lombard family would not let the doctors off the hook. That was why the professionals were afraid and did not know what to do. You. Felix was infuriated. They're the best doctors in Gypsdale. How could they say such things now? Arius Gulliver is in Gypsdale, right? I'll get in touch with him right away, said Felix. Arius is the world's most renowned surgeon. Everything will be fine if he can come here right now. No. I can't wait any longer. Take me inside now. Sophie was determined to check on Tristan herself. Sophie, don't act hastily. Impulsive behavior often results in trouble. Nonetheless, Sophie ignored the three men and let the doctor lead her inside. After changing her clothes, she followed the doctor into the emergency room. How is it? Has the call been connected? Charles, Sean and Felix had no intention of entrusting Tristan's life to a medical student who had not even enrolled at the University of Medicine. Shaking his head, Sean replied. No one answered the phone. Sarah and Lincoln arrived shortly after hearing the news. They kept Tristan's injury a secret from William because they did not know how serious it was. How are things? Sarah inquired as soon as she arrived. Felix shook his head and apologized. I'm sorry, Sarah. I didn't do a good job of protecting Tristan. He wished he had been the one who had been shot. Sarah gave him a pat on the shoulder after noticing how awful he was feeling. No one could have predicted such a thing would happen. Are you injured? She could tell that things were bad when she saw that Felix was covered in blood. However, saying those at the time was pointless. Right then, saving Tristan's life was of utmost importance. I'm fine. Felix was actually hurt as well, but it was not anything serious. At that moment, he just wanted to stay there. Moments later, Isabel also showed up at the hospital. When she saw Felix's frightening appearance, she ran over and hugged him. Felix, what happened? Where's Uncle Tristan? Isabel was on the verge of crying since she had never seen such a scene. Felix, where are you hurt? I'll ask the doctor to come over and treat your wound. After seeing Felix covered in blood, she finally realized how worried she had been about him. Felix did not feel at ease until he was hugged by Isabel. She was the only person in his mind when he was assassinated. He thought that if he actually died, he would deeply regret not telling her how much he liked her. Felix embraced Isabel and kissed her on the forehead. Isabel, don't worry. I'm fine. Because he seemed so serious, Isabel repeatedly checked on him but discovered that he was constantly bleeding. Felix, what the hell is going on with you? You were also shot. Why are you still standing here? She questioned. What is he doing? Does he not want to live anymore? When Charles and Sean heard that, they ripped Felix's clothes open and discovered that he, too, had been shot. Felix. Both of them were bereft of speech. He's not even a doctor. What is his reason for remaining here? I'm fine, really, uttered Felix. Bullshit. Charles could not help cursing. Who the hell dared to cause harm to my friends? He could not wait to tear the other party apart. Next, he immediately requested a stretcher and sent Felix to have his wound treated. Isabel instinctively followed after Felix, completely forgetting that her uncle was still in the emergency room. At that moment, she only had Felix in her eyes. Charles followed Isabel, while Sean stayed behind to accompany Lincoln and Sarah. Lincoln, Sarah, please take a seat over there. It had been a horrible day. Sean, don't worry about us. Lincoln anxiously looked at the door of the emergency room. He then turned around and looked at Sarah. Don't tell Dad about this. He's already in his old age. We shouldn't make him worry. Sarah was aware of his concerns. As people aged, it was only natural for them not to be in as good shape as before. Something terrible might happen if their father became stressed and upset. Don't worry, Lincoln. I'm not going to say anything. Sarah was anxious as well, but all she could do for the time being was wait. Meanwhile, Sophie entered the operating room after changing her clothes. Everyone else knew that she was Arias Jr. Ms. Tanner, the situation is critical. Surgery must be performed right away, but I'm not confident. Sophie nodded and replied, Okay, I understand. Next, she glanced at the position of the bullet. The location was indeed very tricky. They would not be able to save Tristan if they were not cautious. There were several specialists in the operating room, but none dared to perform the surgery. After all, the person lying on the operating table was Tristan. If something were to happen to him, none of them could bear the responsibility. I'll do it. Sophie came to the conclusion that they did not have enough time to wait for Arias. As time passed, the situation would only get worse. Ms. Tanner, are you certain? Isn't Professor Gulliver also in Gypsdale? We should invite him over. The stakes of this surgery were extremely high. It had to be a success. Failure was not an option. We don't have time for that, Sophie stated. If they missed the golden hour, the man on the operating table whom she loved the most might never get up for the rest of his life. Ms. Tanner, Mr. Tristan's someone important. We can't take any risks, the others reminded Sophie. I understand. Don't worry. I'll take responsibility if anything. Nothing will happen to you guys, she assured. Just like that, the surgery began. Sophie tried to calm down and told herself to treat Tristan like a regular patient instead of her boyfriend. He's just like all other patients. I just need to do my part as usual. The other head physicians dared not breathe a word as the operation began. Scalpel, Sophie uttered. Seeing the determination on her face, a surgeon quickly stepped up and passed her the scalpel like an assistant. Don't worry, Ms. Tanner. I'll assist you, he said. Everyone there was a doctor, so they knew they should not shirk responsibility at a time like that. They had mentally prepared themselves to bear the responsibility if anything went wrong during Tristan's surgery. Sophie nodded at the surgeon, who passed her the scalpel, and started removing the bullet. Compared to the operation she performed on Tristan when they first met, the part where the bullet lodged was trickier to access, so the surgery progressed rather slowly. Still, the surgeon was relieved when Sophie made the first incision, for he had never witnessed such skilled hands in his life. The girl before him did not look experienced, but her skills were much better than Arias. It was as if that pair of hands were made to hold a scalpel. Sophie continued the operation with full concentration. Every cut was precise, but her movement was slow and careful because the surgery was complicated. It was not until 2 hours later that Sophie finally removed the bullet. After that, she stitched and dressed the wound. Well done, Ms. Tanner. The surgery took a good 4 hours, and the nurses kept wiping the sweat off Sophie's forehead, and everyone heaved a sigh of relief when they saw that Sophie had finally removed the bullet. They were impressed by the girl. Good job, Ms. Tanner, the surgeon exclaimed. Although he had more than 20 years of experience himself, he was not confident that the surgery would be successful, but Sophie did it anyway. Sophie kept quiet, receiving the compliments. She knew that was just the beginning, for the next 24 hours would be the most defining moment. She held Tristan's hand, hoping that he would regain consciousness within that time. Tristan, you promised me you would spend the rest of your life with me. I won't let you go. Not even death can take you away from me. That was the first time she had attempted such a complicated surgery, but she did not waver for one bit, for she loved Tristan and wanted to do her best to save him. After the operating room's door opened, Sophie took down her mask. Sophie, why are you in there? How's Tristan? Sarah was surprised to see her there. The surgery went well. The next 24 hours will be the most critical period. Sophie was spent after a complex surgery. It so happened that Arius had just arrived as well. Did you do it all on your own? Yes. Where were you? We were trying to contact you, Sophie asked, wondering why Arius was unreachable when he was in Gypsdale itself. Something came up. How's Tristan? Arius asked anxiously. He knew how tiring conducting a surgery was, let alone one that took 4 hours. I'm good. I just hope Tristan can recover. As for Lincoln, he walked past Sophie and went straight over to Tristan when he saw the latter being wheeled to the intensive care unit. All he could think of at that moment was Tristan's safety. Lincoln and Sarah did not leave an inch. They stayed beside Tristan while Sean went out to get everyone some water. You should go rest, Sophie. We can take care of him, Arius said when he saw how exhausted Sophie was. I'm okay. I want to stay with him. Sophie could not rest a wink given how things were. All she wanted to do was be beside Tristan. What about you lean on my shoulder and rest a little? Arius suggested. It pained his heart to see Sophie exerting herself. She had always been like a sister to him. Don't worry about me, Arius. I'm really okay. Sophie could even go without sleep for 3 nights, so staying up to wait for Tristan was not a problem. Arius shook his head, seeing Sophie was adamant. How I wish you and Tristan never met. You'd still be the same old Sophie I knew if you didn't meet him, Arius commented. She was already so drained, yet all she could think about was Tristan. But it's only until I met him that I understood what love is. Never once did she regret meeting that man. In fact, she was more than grateful that Tristan loved her. Meanwhile, Sarah walked over and sat beside Sophie when she saw how tired the latter was. You should get some rest. We will stay by his side. Nothing will happen to him. Since they were all Tristan's family, it went without saying that they would take good care of him, given how worried they were. Although Sarah knew Sophie loved her brother deeply and was worried as well, Sophie looked too worn out to be staying up. It will break his heart to see you like that when he wakes up, Sarah added, trying to persuade Sophie. How's Felix, by the way? Sophie asked. She had just heard from Arius that Felix was injured as well. He's fine. His injury isn't that serious. Isabel and Charles are there. His family just arrived too, so don't worry. I see. Tristan will be fine, right, Sarah? Why does he keep running into danger like this? Sophie asked, recalling how Tristan was caught in the same situation when they first met. I guess it can't be helped. He has had a few similar encounters growing up. His success in Gypsdale comes at a cost. Many people out there want him dead. I see. Sophie felt miserable. Everyone is envious of Tristan for his success, but no one can understand how it feels like to have one's enemies breathing down their neck. Sophie's heart wrenched at the realization. She could not believe that was how Tristan had always felt since he was young. All right, Sophie. It's time for you to rest. We still have 24 hours to go, so you should get some sleep. You need the energy to care for him when he wakes up. Okay then. The last thing Sophie wanted was to be a burden to Tristan, so she went to the ward next door for a nap. When she woke up, it was already 3:30 in the morning. She tried going back to sleep but could not, so she went to Tristan's room to check on him. Why are you here, Sophie? It's not even morning yet. I'll be here the whole night. There's nothing to worry about. I'm a doctor too. I can handle him, Arius said when he saw her. I'm feeling a lot better after some sleep. I'm really okay now. Don't worry. You never listen to me. Since Sophie would not listen to him, he let her stay. Are you hungry? What, don't I get you some food? It suddenly occurred to Arius that Sophie had not eaten anything. Meanwhile, Felix's wound was already all dressed. Because he was drained, he fell asleep right after, and Isabel stayed with him without leaving at all. When Felix woke up, he saw Isabel sleeping beside him with her head on the bed. He got up and caressed her head, but it woke her up immediately. Isabel opened her tired eyes. Are you okay, Felix? Is it still painful? It must be painful, right? The wound's so deep. I'm okay. Why didn't you go home and rest? Did you stay here the whole night? Felix was worried about her. Although Isabel was the first person he wanted to see after waking up, and he was glad that was the case, he did not want to tire her out. How could I leave, seeing you like this? I can't just go home. Isabel did not tell him that she was almost scared to death when Felix got hurt. She was so worried about him that she had not even gone to see Tristan. How's Mr. Tristan? Felix asked. I have no idea. I've been here the whole time, Isabel replied, feeling guilty. Should I go check on Uncle Tristan? All right. You should continue resting. I'm going to see how Uncle Tristan's doing now that you're awake, Isabel said. I want to go too. No. Felix. You're not going anywhere. I'll tell you how he is after I come back. You're injured too, so don't push yourself. Felix nodded, looking at the frowning woman. All right then. Since Felix's family was also around, Isabel could leave without worrying. Everyone was still outside the intensive care unit when she reached. Isabel went over to Sophie and asked, How's Uncle Tristan? Felix just woke up. He's still unconscious. How's Felix? Sophie asked. She was so busy the night before she did not check on Felix. He's good. The wound is deep, but it will heal. We just need to give it time. The culprit had better not let me get my hands on them, or I would shred them to pieces. How dare they do this to Felix and Uncle Tristan? I'll make sure they regret this, Sophie promised. She did not care who that person was. Sophie would exact revenge as long as her loved ones were affected. Isabel held her hand and comforted her. We can deal with this later, Sophie. Let's wait for Uncle Tristan to wake up first. Both of them are injured, so we'd better not make things worse now. We shouldn't make things worse. It's not me who started this. Those people looked for trouble themselves. Isabel did not leave at once after seeing Tristan. Since Felix was already awake, she did not rush to return to him. She figured Tristan needed her more at that point. Seeing Isabel had come, Lincoln went over to talk to her. He was not in the mood to give her a full-fledged lecture. I know there's no point in objecting now since you're already in the entertainment industry, but you must remember this. You must consider our family's reputation in your every action. That's the least you can do as a Lombard. Dad, does that mean I have your blessing? Isabel asked in thrill. That was the first time Lincoln had given in. There's no use in stopping you, right? It's not like you'll listen to me. Lincoln figured that since his objection would be futile, he might as well just support Isabel and try to make things work out. Isabel hugged him in excitement. You're the best, Dad. I love you. Lincoln patted her cheek. Now you know. Make sure you don't get yourself into trouble. Always make sure you have the upper hand in every situation. Isabel smiled. Don't worry, Dad. Sophie's with me. No one will dare to bully me. You know how powerful she is, right? She's the one sitting over there, right? What's her relationship with Tristan? It doesn't seem like they're just friends. She's been here the whole time. Damn it. Dad still doesn't know about Sophie and Uncle Tristan. Isabel looked at Sarah helplessly. Lincoln, you should ask Tristan when he wakes up. Wait. You know what? Maybe I should just tell you now. Sophie's Tristan's girlfriend, Sarah informed. Since Sophie had stayed with Tristan all that while, it was evident that she was not just a regular friend to Tristan. His girlfriend? She's so young. Lincoln was shocked. Sarah nodded. She is, Lincoln. She's younger than Isabel. But you know Tristan. He doesn't change his mind once he sets his heart on something. Did I even say I disagree with their relationship? Lincoln knew that although he was the eldest in the family, he should not meddle with his younger siblings' love life. After all, love came in unexpected ways. I bet Dad doesn't know, Lincoln added, recalling how William was still arranging a few blind dates for Tristan. He doesn't know, Sarah replied. Is Tristan serious about this relationship? Lincoln asked doubtfully. He's your brother. You should know him well. He never does anything half-heartedly. The truth was that the whole Lombard family took their relationships seriously. I see. You talk to him when he wakes up, then. This is a delicate issue. I don't think the girl will be able to take it if father becomes furious. It so happened that Tristan was slowly regaining consciousness at that time. Everyone dashed over to the door, but only one person was allowed in. Lincoln wanted to go in first, but Sarah stopped him. We already know he's awake. That's enough. Someone else will want to see him more badly than us. Lincoln looked over at Sophie, who had just gone in. All right, he said, nodding. After ensuring that Tristan was out of danger, Lincoln left for work since there were matters he had to attend to. As for Sophie, she held Tristan's hand after going in. How are you feeling? Sophie was a strong woman, but even then, tears rolled down her cheeks as she spoke. Tristan's heart broke when he saw that, for it was the first time he saw her cry. To him, Sophie had always tried her best to solve her problems without shedding any tears. He wanted to wipe away her tears, but he felt his whole body was weak, and that feeling crippled him. I'm sorry, Sophie. I shouldn't have made you worried. Although Tristan was already unconscious when he was rushed to the operating theater, he could imagine how unnerving it would be for Sophie to go through that moment. Don't say that, Tristan. You're safe now. That's all that matters to me. Don't worry. I'm all right now. Yes, you are. Where's Felix? How's he? Tristan roughly knew that the person who targeted them at that time must have strong backing, for the assassins were skilled and swift. That was how he and Felix ended up fatally injured. Felix is fine. Don't worry. You should take care of yourself now. I thought I would never see you again, Sophie. At that moment of danger, Sophie was all Tristan could think of. He could not imagine what it would be like for Sophie if he were to leave her forever. Tristan remained in the intensive care unit for another day after waking up, slipping between consciousness and sleep, but Sophie stayed with him all the time. When Arias came in to check on Tristan and confirmed that everything was fine, everyone felt relieved to leave. Get some rest, Sophie. I'll be here. You have nothing to worry about. I'm fine. Sophie just wanted to stay with Tristan, regardless of how long it would be. She felt safe around him. You don't look good though. I'm afraid you might pass out if you keep this up. Arias was bent on stopping her from staying. Go on, he continued. Go rest. I'll stay with him. As a medical professor, Arias had the necessary skills to take care of Tristan, so he brought Sophie out of the ward before returning to Tristan. Since Tristan was the man Sophie loved the most, Arias took it upon himself to give him the most attentive care. Not long after, William arrived at the hospital. Sarah was startled when she saw him because it could only mean that the old man had found out that Tristan had been injured. Why are you here, Dad? Why didn't you tell me anything? Do you guys still take me as your father? Where's Tristan? How's he? William questioned. He's resting in the intensive care unit, Dad. Don't worry. The surgery went well, Sarah admitted when she knew she could no longer keep the secret. Can I go in and see him? William could not put his mind to rest unless he saw his youngest son for himself. He was worried because Tristan was his favorite. He was the old man's pride. So Sarah went to talk to Arius so the latter would go out and let William enter instead. William was heartbroken when he saw Tristan in that state. As a child, Tristan had never made his father worry. What are you doing here, Dad? I'm fine. Please don't stare at me like this. You're scaring me, Tristan said when he woke up. I guess you're well enough to tease me already. By the way, I thought you were stronger than this. I can't believe they got you just like that. What a shame. Dad, are you really here because you care for me? Anyway, I'm not letting this go. How dare they lay a finger on my son? I'll kill them. William seethed. Stay out of this, Dad. I'll deal with them, Tristan assured. He would not be that badly injured if it were not for Felix. Tristan was trying to save him. How can I sit and do nothing? This is not the first time. There are too many people eyeing our family out there. It's impossible to just be on the defense all the time. It's all your fault. You've turned down all the blind dates I arranged for you. You must find a woman who has what it takes to protect you. Not again, Dad. Tristan was left speechless. All right, Dad. I'm still a patient. I need to rest. You should go home now that you know I'm fine. You're old already. Don't strain yourself. You must think I'm bothersome, don't you? What a brat. I'm just worried you'll be tired. Whatever. You should talk less and rest more. I'm glad Sarah is here. At least she can take care of you. Although William was also dissatisfied with Sarah for not getting married, he trusted Sarah would take good care of Tristan since she was reliable. When William went out, Sarah and Isabel followed him immediately. I told you he's fine, Dad. You should just go home. Look after him. Call me if you need anything. Although William was no longer at the helm of the company, he still held much sway in many matters. I will. Don't worry. Then, Sarah asked the driver to send William home. Aunt Sarah, do you think Grandpa will be okay? Uncle Tristan has always been his favorite. Grandpa must be sad to see him like that. You should probably keep him company. Felix is out of the woods already, so go over to your grandpa if you have time. Somehow, Sarah had also realized that William had aged. I will, Aunt Sarah. Everyone in the family had been occupied around that time, so no one had taken the time to talk to William. Meanwhile, Sophie had just woken up after a nap. She had some food and went to see Tristan after that. I can take over, Sarah. Sarah had also been standing by since the incident, and Sophie worried things might take a toll on her. Seeing that Sophie was well rested, Sarah nodded and got ready to leave. Stay here, then. I'll go home to shower and get changed. You don't have to hurry back, Sarah. Just sleep at home tonight. I'll stay here. Okay. Take care of yourself too. Sarah had always thought Sophie was just a young girl, but after what happened, she realized that Sophie was worth all of Tristan's love. Arius was conducting a check on Tristan when Sophie entered. Everything looks good. We can transfer him to a regular ward already, Arius announced after the check. Since Tristan no longer required special care, he could be transferred out of the intensive care unit. After all, it was troublesome for visitors if he stayed there. Thanks, Arius. At that moment, Tristan had woken up. Well, you can treat me to a good meal after you recover. Sure. Let's have a drink after I get out of this place. Sophie went over and held Tristan's hand. Is it still painful? Tristan shook his head. Don't worry. You did a great job. There's no way it'll be painful. Tristan already found out that Sophie was the one who operated on him. After Tristan was transferred out, he got a room next to Felix, who made a huge fuss about going to see Tristan when he found out about it. Isabel could not persuade him otherwise, so she could only will Felix next door. Everyone was stupefied when they saw Felix in a wheelchair. "Don't look at me like that. I'm perfectly fine. It's just that this lady refuses to let me walk on my own," he complained. Earlier, Isabel had insisted on using a wheelchair, making him look like he wasn't able to walk. Charles could not help but laugh. "Consider yourself lucky. Ms. Lombard has never cared for anyone like that, so don't complain." Felix's face lit up at the statement. He's right. Isabel's been nicer to me ever since I got injured. She must really care for me. Isabel's face flushed in embarrassment. "Come on. I'll do the same for all of you if any of you is hurt too," she explained immediately. "No thanks. I don't want to get injured," Charles replied. He was afraid of pain. "I'm sorry, Mr. Tristan. I should be the one protecting you, but you ended up injured because of me." Felix had been feeling guilty because of what had happened. He was thunderstruck the moment he saw Tristan collapsing after the gunshot. Tristan shook his head as he stared at Felix in the wheelchair. "You're like a brother to me. How could I bear to see you die? Mr. Tristan, you..." Felix was moved. "Am I really that important to you?" Rendered speechless, Tristan decided to ignore him. "You're really pushing your luck there. Stop it, you two. We're so glad that the both of you are okay." Charles and Sean let out sighs of relief. They were incredibly shocked to see Tristan and Felix drenched in blood previously. "So, who was the culprit that harmed the two of you so badly?" "I won't forgive them," Charles declared vehemently, vowing to crush the person who did that. "Keep this incident under wraps for now. We'll talk more after I'm discharged from the hospital." Their opponent was not someone to be underestimated. They would likely suffer a loss if they made a rash move. "Rest well, Mr. Tristan. Lie down, rest, and don't worry about anything else. Leave Lombard Group to me. Felix, you too. I will also take good care of your company," Sean declared. Currently, two of them should only focus on recuperating and not worry about anything else. "I knew I could count on you." This was the first time Tristan had taken a leave ever since he first took over Lombard Group. While one would assume that the people on top like him enjoyed a carefree life, little did they know how much hard work went on behind the scenes. "All right. Felix, you're an injured person too. Go rest. Since the man was also injured, he should not remain here." Upon hearing Arias' words, Isabel immediately went over and pushed Felix's wheelchair. "Uncle Tristan, take good care of yourself. I'll send Felix back now." Tristan was utterly speechless. This little girl. Is Isabel even aware of how much she likes Felix? As Sean and Charles had other matters to attend to, they also departed. Soon, only Tristan, Sophie, and Arias were left. "Arias, you may leave. Why is this man so obtuse?" Everyone else had already left. "I want some alone time with Sophie," Arias harumphed at Tristan's suggestion and said indignantly. "Mr. Tristan, I was worried that Sophie would be sad if you kicked the bucket. Otherwise, I won't even be here." What a joke. How dare he attempt to chase me out? Once again, Tristan was rendered speechless. What a fearless man. "Arias, I don't like that phrase." Even if Tristan was no longer in great danger, Sophie disliked hearing that particular phrase. Arias cleared his throat. Okay. I'll stop and take my leave now." Finally, Tristan and Sophie were the only ones left in the room. "Come here." Sophie went over and held Tristan's hand. "What's wrong? Are you thirsty? You mustn't drink water now. If you're thirsty, I can use some cotton swabs." Shaking his head, Tristan laced his fingers through hers. "Don't worry. I'm not thirsty. I apologize for worrying you." "I'm so sorry for causing you so much worry. Tristan, you haven't recovered. Don't think about anything for now and just focus on getting better," Sophie said. "We will solve the other problems somehow." "Okay, You should get some rest too. Tristan realized that the past 2 days had been an ordeal for Sophie when he saw the dark circles under her eyes. His world was one that was filled with unknown dangers. He loved her, and therefore, he did not want her to shoulder such a burden. Alas, there were some things that were out of his control. I'm okay. I want to stay here with you, Sophie insisted. Tristan's life was no longer in danger, but he really scared her this time. This was not the first time she had performed surgery on him. Previously, he had been an unimportant person, so she did not care if he lived or died. However, that was not the case this time. Tristan had become the person most important to her. Sophie had been terrified while she was performing the operation. I'm really fine. Look, I'm all good. So, don't worry. Tristan could only imagine how terrified she had been of him. Sophie lay down on the side of his bed. Tristan, I'm not as naive as you think. There are many things that I can help you with, Sophie said. In any case, she no longer wanted to experience that ever again. Tristan felt his heart clench. I will stand by you when things are smooth sailing, and I will be with you when you're facing hardships. Sophie was capable of that. Hence, they could fight alongside each other. Tristan was undoubtedly moved when he heard those words. My beloved Sophie, you do not retreat in the face of danger and even want to fight alongside me. I must have done countless good deeds in my previous life to meet my soulmate. Okay. Let's work hard together, he said. Satisfied with his answer, Sophie beamed. By the way, Sophie, can you hire a caregiver? It was too burdensome for her to do everything all by herself. No. I refuse to hand you over to someone else. Sophie put her foot down when it came to this matter. But is it because I didn't take care of you well enough? Tell me if there's anything you need. Did I not do a good job? No, I only wanted to wipe my body. Tristan was slightly germophobic. It had been 3 days since he last showered, and he could no longer endure the feeling. Oh, Sophie said in surprise. That was careless of me. Let me help you. Even if the caregiver was an older woman, she still refused to let another woman lay eyes on Tristan's body. Not even a male caregiver was allowed to look at him. All right, Tristan agreed. Sophie immediately went to prepare some hot water. She wrung the hot water from the towel and wiped his hands. After that, she proceeded to undo the buttons on his hospital gown and carefully wiped his upper body. Tristan could see the seriousness and care in her eyes. Sophie was truly a remarkable girl. He had known that he wanted to hold her in his heart from the moment he had met her. Nevertheless, she was the person who was currently taking care of him. Occasionally, Sophie's cool fingers would come into contact with his body, and the sensation made Tristan feel like a beast. He was already in such a condition, and yet, thoughts of pouncing on her filled his mind. It must be because her expression is too alluring. That must be it. Sophie wanted to concentrate on her task, but Tristan's gaze was so passionate that she could not ignore him even if she wanted to. She lifted her head and met with a pair of scorching eyes. It made her flush red. Tristan, get a hold of yourself. You're only making it harder for yourself. Help me. What? Sophie couldn't help but suspect she heard things wrongly as her cheeks turned pink. She felt a burning sensation coursing through her entire body. Seeing her reaction, Tristan knew she had misunderstood him. I mean, help me wipe down my body, he clarified. He wanted to tease her longer initially, but decided to spare her. Otherwise, he would be the one suffering in the end. Oh, Sophie grunted in response. She got more embarrassed after learning that it was a misunderstanding on her side. Oh dear. What was I thinking? Why did I come up with such a shameful thought? Sophie rolled up the hems of his pants to wipe his legs. However, the bulge between his legs proved that she wasn't the only one who had other thoughts. Tristan was undoubtedly feeling awkward. Nevertheless, it was perfectly normal to be aroused when the love of his life was right before him. No matter how much self-control he had, he was still an ordinary man. Sophie swiftly wiped down his entire body and helped him to change into fresh clothes. In the process, she was obliged to touch his body. The intimate interaction was pure torture to Tristan. Nonetheless, he enjoyed how Sophie meticulously took care of him. "I can only enjoy her service when I'm hurt, huh?" He suddenly spoke. "I realized that it is a good thing to get hurt." Sophie gaped incredulously. What is he talking about? I'm worried sick about him. How dare he say it's a good thing that he got hurt? Tristan added, I mean, we are both usually busy with our work. After I got hurt, we both have more free time. They had been together for some time but didn't actually get to spend a lot of time with each other. All right then. I will spend more time with you in the future, Sophie promised. She didn't want him to get hurt since she would worry and fear for his safety. Tristan invited, "Come on. Join me in bed." "I don't think so. The hospital bed is quite narrow. If the bed collapsed, other people would overthink and assume they did something on the bed." "It's fine. The bed is sturdy and won't collapse," Tristan assured her. Sophie was speechless. Suddenly, it occurred to her that their conversation was quite amusing. With that thought in mind, she burst out giggling. "Come on," Tristan urged. Sophie had worked hard all by herself, so he wanted her to rest in bed for a while. At his insistence, Sophie had no choice but to join him in bed. She lay on her side beside him to avoid pressing on his wound. Warmth spread through Tristan's heart when he saw how obedient she was. Soon, he fell asleep. At the sight of Tristan's pale face, Sophie reached out to touch his lashes. His lashes were long and gorgeous. She felt her heart skip a beat as she observed him carefully. Tristan was flawlessly handsome, and she couldn't help but grow attached to him. The next day, Sarah came over to take over Sophie's duty. "Sophie, thank you," she thanked Sophie gratefully. "It's fine, Sarah. Don't worry about me. Actually, I can take care of him myself," Sophie replied. She was perfectly capable of doing that. Besides, Tristan also hired a caregiver to help her out so she wouldn't get too tired. "I know you want to stay by his side, but you need to rest. I'm his sister, so just leave it to me," Sarah told her. "Sarah, there is no need for you to stay. Go back home." "Sophie can stay here with me," Tristan interjected. It was more comfortable for him to spend time with Sophie. After all, Sarah was a woman. It wasn't convenient for her to take care of him. "Tristan, what do you mean by that? Are you annoyed that I want to take care of you? I know you want to be by Sophie's side at all times, but you need to consider her health," Sarah retorted. "Sophie's health would suffer if she keeps pulling all-nighters." "Sarah, I'm fine," Sophie insisted. Sarah rolled her eyes. "Fine, just spoil him all you like." "Sophie, listen carefully. You shouldn't spoil men, get it?" If this were to go on, Sophie would be the one suffering in the end. Tristan cut in. "Sarah, are you really my sister?" Sarah snapped. "Even if I'm your sister, you can't change my mind. Don't you dare bully Sophie, okay? Otherwise, I will beat you up. Look how obedient Sophie is. Can't he treat her better?" Tristan was touched by how protective Sarah was of Sophie. "You see this, Sophie? Sarah and Isabel are on your side. If you marry me, I won't even dare to tease you," he told Sophie. Sophie had no idea he would suddenly mention that. "Is this a marriage proposal?" Sarah protested. "Hey, Tristan, where is your sincerity? You don't have a ring or roses. You're not serious at all but want her to marry you? Dream on." Tristan shrugged. "Okay then. I will ask for her hand in marriage next time." Was it really a marriage proposal? Sophie was stunned. "Is he serious? Are you sure?" she blurted out. "Yes, I am. I don't know when I made up my mind, but I'm sure that you're the only woman I'll love in this lifetime," Tristan replied firmly. There could be no one else. It was obvious to Sarah that they only had eyes for each other. She was nothing but a third wheel here. In the end, she left without making a sound. Ah, such is love. They love each other dearly. I envy them. Sophie was touched as she saw the promise in his gaze. Gently, she gave him a hug. Okay. Don't worry, for I won't make you wait for long. We can get married after I graduate from university, she vowed. It would usually take a student 5 years to graduate from a university of medicine, but she was planning on completing the program in just 2 years. Tristan lowered his head to kiss her lips. Sure. I'll wait for you no matter how long it takes. You're the only woman I'll marry in this lifetime. She was his one and only, so he wouldn't settle for less. Sophie nodded and responded to his kiss fervently. What should I do? If he weren't seriously injured, I would have wanted nothing more than to pin him underneath me. The urge is so strong. Tristan held her chin and caressed it softly. Sophie, what should I do? I think I'm slowly losing my self-control, he whispered. All along, he was very proud of his self-control. Alas, his self-control had faded into thin air right this moment. Sophie stood on her tiptoes and nibbled on the edge of his lips. She was making things worse. Despite his arousal, Tristan didn't touch her. Hey, he whispered helplessly. She knows I want to protect her, but she ignites my desire nonetheless. What a naughty girl. What's wrong? Sophie blinked innocently. Tristan felt his heart race when he looked into her pretty eyes. You make my heart race, he revealed honestly. I think your teasing will kill me before we get married. Even though Tristan was badly injured, he enjoyed his time in the hospital. No matter how lovely his life was, he didn't forget to investigate who had the guts to want him dead. Charles and Sean showed up. Felix was also pushed into Tristan's ward in a wheelchair. Felix, isn't this too much? You didn't hurt your legs. Why do you need a wheelchair? Felix responded smugly. My Isabel is worried about me and insisted that someone push me here in a wheelchair. It was Isabel, so he allowed her to do anything she wanted. The other three shook their heads at the sight of his foolish smile. Felix, won't you man up? After you get married, do you want to be a henpecked man? To them, Felix had gone overboard. Felix chuckled. I'm willing to be a henpecked man as long as I get to marry Isabel. He was of the opinion that men should allow their wives to control them. Ignore him. Tristan couldn't be bothered about them as long as the couple was happy together and wouldn't disturb him and Sophie. Charles shook his head. Love is really scary. Look at Mr. Tristan and Felix. They act the same way. I think playing the field is more relaxing. Sean was envious, for it was hard to meet the one in life. By the way, how did the investigation go? Tristan asked. That was why the men paid him a visit that day. Hearing his question, Charles and Sean grew serious. We found out who it was. They were on good terms with us, so we cannot believe that they were behind this, Charles revealed with a grim expression. Since they have a death wish, we can grant their wish. Tristan could guess who it was, but he was in the hospital for 2 days and didn't have time to confirm his guess. Who is it? Felix got curious. He was the only one to ask that question as he didn't know who they were talking about. The Zales family. They were the reason Clayton ended up in jail. Clayton was Ernest Zales' favorite son, so the latter would undoubtedly do something. He risked it all and went all out just to avenge Clayton. The Zales family might be weak, but they could hire a few top assassins easily. After all, assassin organizations would accept missions as long as they were paid. Some were even fugitives. Damn, he has a death wish, huh? Felix commented furiously. Despite enjoying his time here, he refused to let the matter slip as he nearly died back there. Sean said, You're both injured, so don't do anything for now. Charles and I will handle everything. The Zales family didn't hold back, so they would take them all out without any hint of regret. Felix bobbed his head. Okay. Don't hold back. He wanted nothing more than to rip their enemy to shreds. Despite surviving the attack, he had to endure the pain. No one knew that the Zales family was able to do this to them. Meanwhile, Ernest seemed distraught to learn that Tristan and Felix had survived the ordeal. Seeing his reaction, his children said, "Dad, you know how ruthless Tristan can be. How could you do that? Have you lost your mind?" "Exactly. You're trying to get us all killed. I know your favorite son has always been Clayton, but he provoked Mr. Tristan this time. What should we do? Will Tristan spare our lives?" Tristan wasn't the only one who got hurt, for Felix was in the hospital as well. One wouldn't want to mess with the 4 prominent families. Alas, the Zales family provoked 2 families in one go. Ernest was silent as he sat in the main seat. He had spent all his savings to hire a few top assassins. Never in his wildest dreams did he think that things would turn out this way. "I was the one who did that. If you're afraid, just sacrifice me. I've lived till a ripe old age, so I'm not afraid of anything," he declared. "I can't believe the 5 top assassins died in Tristan's hand. He is someone to watch out for. How did he kill them, anyway? Other than preparing to die, what else can I do?" Meanwhile, Butterfly spotted Phantom sitting in front of the computer. It had been a while since she last saw her. "I didn't think she would suddenly show up and immediately do her work." Butterfly took a seat and watched as Phantom busied herself with work without disturbing the latter. After she was done, Butterfly asked, "What were you busy with? Tell me, how long has it been since you last paid me a visit?" "This is too much." She showed up after a long absence, yet her purpose here is to use the resources of Wings of Light. "She isn't here to visit me. You're doing well, right? Why do I need to visit you?" Sophie replied nonchalantly. She whipped out a piece of gum from her pocket. "What's wrong? Are you in a bad mood?" Butterfly asked. Butterfly had been with Phantom long enough to know that the latter would chew on gum whenever she was frustrated. "Nothing. Someone has a death wish, so I won't spare his life," Sophie announced. For them to indulge in their enemy and get into trouble because of that, they must have been too kind. Sophie wouldn't be this furious if Ernest had targeted her. He shouldn't have harmed Tristan. "Anyone who dares to lay a hand on Tristan will have to suffer my wrath. Who has the audacity to provoke Phantom? Tell me who he is, and I'll teach him a lesson," Butterfly declared. She had always been on Sophie's side. Sophie pushed her gorgeous face away. "Don't come any closer to me. I'm not used to it," she said sternly. Butterfly was hurt. "Phantom, are you sick of me? I'm so pretty. How could you be sick of me?" She got frustrated. "Okay, I need to leave now. Bye." Sophie only planned to leave the hospital briefly when Charles and Sean showed up. She was busy taking care of Tristan for the past 2 days and didn't have time to investigate the matter. Thus, she only showed up at Wings of Light today. "It's rare to see you here. Why don't we have lunch together?" Butterfly suggested. "Don't be cruel to me." "Next time," Sophie replied. Once again, Butterfly was hurt. It was pretty hard to eat with Sophie nowadays. Alas, Sophie had already left without looking back. Back in the hospital, Sarah had arrived with some home-cooked food that she had prepared for them both. "Sophie, come on and try my cooking," Sarah invited. She was both an independent woman and a great cook. Her soups were especially delicious. "Come eat after you wash your hands," Tristan called out. He didn't even ask where Sophie went. Tristan thought she ought to have some time to herself. After all, it was indeed boring to stay in the hospital all day long. Sophie went to the bathroom and washed her hands. Her lips curled into a smile at the sight of the scrumptious lunch laid out on the table. "Sarah, you're amazing. You know how to make so many delicious dishes," Sophie complimented. Given that Sarah came from an affluent family, it was surprising that she could cook so well. Sarah chuckled in response. "You flatter me. I made this mushroom soup alone. Our personal chef helped me with all the other dishes," she replied. "Sarah, you're too humble. One of these days, you should really prepare a whole table of dishes on your own, Tristan chimed in. Sarah smiled. Sure. After you're discharged, I'm going to personally prepare a table of dishes for both of you. Sarah was usually too busy to cook. Nevertheless, she enjoyed cooking. She relished the process of preparing the ingredients. The serenity she felt while preparing the ingredients was unparalleled, and it always made her feel grounded and calm. Great. We'll look forward to it. Sophie beamed with delight while thinking that Sarah was quite likable. Sarah was pleased to see Sophie and Tristan enjoy their lunch. However, the couple's sweet moments suddenly reminded her of her own bleak marriage prospects. In spite of that fact, she really wanted a child. Oh, right. When are the two of you having a baby? Sarah asked out of the blue. After she popped the unexpected question, there was a fairly long stretch of silence. Sophie was stumped. Why is she suddenly asking about this? Tristan squeezed Sophie's hand when he noticed her startled expression. Sarah, why are you asking about this all of a sudden? Sophie is still young. Why would we rush to have kids now? Tristan replied. Do you think having kids is as easy as earning money? Oh. I just wanted to ask whether you guys could let me adopt one of your babies, Sarah said. Being all alone sometimes made her feel lonely. Perhaps having a child around could make it all better. Again, Sophie was rendered speechless. How could she even think of asking us to give her a child? Definitely not. Give birth to your own baby if you want one. Why do we have to give you our baby? That's ridiculous. Tristan scowled at her. Sarah clenched her fists. Tristan, how could you say that? I've been good to you since we were young. What's so wrong about asking you to give me a baby? Well, I can give you anything, but a child is out of the question because the child would be Sophie's baby too. Tristan refuted. The baby hadn't even existed yet, but the siblings were already quarreling over the matter. It was a really baffling sight. Sophie, talk some sense into him. He's so aggravating. I'm just asking for a child. Why is he refusing to give me one? Sarah grumbled. Ahem. Sophie was feeling a little awkward. Actually, you two should calm down. I don't think I want a child anytime soon, Sophie added. After all, she still thought of herself as a child. Sophie, don't worry. I'm going to raise the child on your behalf. You just need to give birth to one, Sarah said. She really wanted a baby to keep her company. Sarah, don't be ridiculous. I'm not going to let you off the hook if you scare my girl away, Tristan warned. How could you be so rude, Tristan? I'm talking to Sophie right now. Back off, Sarah rebuked. How dare he threaten me? Does he have a death wish? Sarah, I don't plan on giving my baby away either, Sophie said in a determined tone. Sarah was at a loss for words this time. Exactly. Give birth to your own baby if you want one. What gives you the right to think that people will just give away their baby to you? It was the paradox of life that one would have to risk one's own life to bring another into the world. Childbearing was a precarious process. Tristan was terrified just from thinking about it. He did not wish to put his girl through that kind of suffering at all. The notion of putting Sophie through the pain of labor multiple times was inconceivable. All right. Forget about it then, Sarah grumbled. She was dejected, but there was nothing she could do about it. After all, she was asking for a child. All jokes aside, she knew the gravity of her demand. Sophie felt sorry for Sarah. Sarah, you can still have your own baby, Sophie said. She's still young. Why is she giving it all up now? Sophie, you don't understand. What's the point of having a baby for someone I don't even have feelings for? After staying at the ward for some time, Sarah went back to her office. There were still a lot of things she had to attend to, so she didn't linger. Tristan, it seems like Sarah really wants a baby. Sophie, you know I usually listen to you, but I'm afraid I can't compromise on this matter. You should know the risks involved in having a baby, Tristan reasoned. That was why, even if they eventually decided to have a child, One was more than enough. He did not wish to put her life on the line so many times. Okay. Sophie hadn't given the topic much thought. She reckoned that advancements in medical technology had significantly reduced pregnancy and labor risks. Still, there were still risks. Don't worry. I'm a doctor myself, Sophie said. She was a student at the University of Medicine, after all. Tristan held her hand. Sarah is just in a rut right now. I believe that she will find her Mr. Right someday. Sarah would not have become like this if not for Juan. Juan had given Sarah an obstacle in life, and no one knew how long Sarah would take to overcome it. At present, Sophie had already taken the initiative before Charles and Sean made their move. Zales Corporation had descended into anarchy in the span of a single day. They had encountered problems with their finances. Though the top management was in the midst of an investigation, Ernest had already given up. He didn't think that there was a way out after offending Tristan. Hence, he already saw it coming. Nevertheless, Ernest was still surprised when the police were at his place to arrest him. Being arrested one day was something he had never even thought about. What are you guys doing? What has my father done? On what grounds are you arresting my father? Clayton's elder brother was still making a last-ditch attempt to save their father. Now that Clayton was already in jail, the whole Zales family had turned to Ernest for support. They didn't know what to do if something were to happen to Ernest as well. Please give way and do not obstruct the execution of official duties. I believe old Mr. Zales knows what he has done, an officer said. They wouldn't have come all the way here to arrest Ernest if they didn't have any concrete evidence in hand. The fact that the police were there to arrest Ernest meant that they had incriminating evidence against him. The vigorous man seemed to have aged decades in a single day. He was but a ghost of his past self. Ernest sat there in silence, saying nothing. Old Mr. Zales, you'd better follow us and give your cooperation in. Before the officer could finish his sentence, black blood dribbled from the corner of Ernest's mouth. Oh no! He swallowed poison to take his own life. An officer rushed forward to pry open his mouth. But it was too late. Dad, what's the matter with you? What's happening to our family? Clayton's elder brother was on the brink of a breakdown. Unlike Clayton or Ernest, he was a pliant and weak-minded man. At the sight of his own father dying, his mind went blank. He didn't know what to do. Sir, what do we do now? An officer asked. What can we do? The man's dead, a higher-ranked officer replied. He knew that the upper echelons of their society all had blood on their hands. What he didn't expect was that the Zales family would even stoop so low as to poison their own father. The Zales family was considered one of the big shots in Gypsdale. The Zales family was considered one of the big shots in Gypsdale. Yet, they were uprooted from Gypsdale within a matter of days. All Clayton's brother could do was rush to the hospital. Mr. Tristan, we've learned our lesson. Whatever Clayton did is his to bear and has nothing to do with me. I beg of you. Please spare me. Who let him in? Tristan fell into a sour mood the moment he saw Clayton's brother, for it reminded him of Clayton himself. Clayton's brother knelt on the floor immediately. Mr. Tristan, as long as you spare me, I will take my family and leave Gypsdale. We promise we will never return ever again. By that point, the Zales family's status in Gypsdale had been utterly destroyed by the man before him. In spite of that, he didn't even dare to hate Tristan. All he prayed for at that moment was to be alive and well. Leave. It was Sophie who spoke. Clayton's brother heaved a sigh of relief upon hearing Sophie's demand. He bowed at them right away before leaving the ward. Tristan had no objections to that. If Sophie was the one who gave the word, he would oblige. Why aren't you asking me my reason for letting him go? Sophie was curious. As I had said, I will support whatever decision you make, so there's nothing to ask. He wouldn't have objected to it anyway. Sophie was speechless. She didn't know what to say in response to what he had just told her. I just felt that Clayton's brother wasn't involved in what happened, so he hasn't done anything wrong. Those who had committed crimes must be punished. Since he hadn't done any wrong, they should just ignore him. Charles and Sean overheard their conversation while approaching them. Sophie, were you behind what happened to the Zales family? Charles asked directly. You can never be certain with this girl. In any case, the Zales family was considered rather established in Gypsdale. Yet, she was able to uproot them with such ease. What? I thought you two were behind this, Tristan blurted. My girl has been keeping me company in the hospital the whole time. How could she have had the time for that? Charles and Sean shook their heads. All three men turned to look at Sophie. Fine. I get it. Sophie realized she had to say something. I just taught him a small lesson for trying to take your life. I never expected him to go to such extremities. All she did was hand evidence of his crimes to the police and nothing else. Charles didn't respond to that, for he had no words. Mr. Tristan, I seriously have to thank you for sending Winter to Allender. Winter wouldn't have been able to hold a candle against her. After everything, he figured it would be the safest for Winter to be in Allender. All the while, Sophie stared at them with an innocent look. What do you mean by that? I only taught him a small lesson. I hadn't even gone to him in person. I don't have time to go in person because I've been busy looking after Tristan these past few days. Sean was at a loss for words. Sophie, you can tell me if I did anything to offend you in the future. I'll make sure to offer you a heartfelt apology. This girl is savage. Sophie continued to stare at Tristan innocently. Tristan, do you also think I had gone overboard? I can't just let others walk all over you and do nothing, can I? She questioned. What I did wasn't all that bad. Both Charles and Sean were utterly stumped. Walk all over Tristan? Okay, I suppose we should refrain from joking around with Tristan from now on. Lest she gets rid of us somehow while assuming we're walking all over him. Tristan couldn't help but laugh at Sophie's reactions. He held her hand to pull her to him and wrapped his arm around her waist. Not at all. You didn't go overboard. You're fine as you are, and I'm satisfied with it. He had always known that she wasn't just some girl, but it didn't matter. He liked her nonetheless. Neither Charles nor Sean knew how they should react to that. Fine. Mr. Tristan is currently infatuated with Sophie, so nothing anybody else says would matter to him now. Say, what's up with you two? Why would you let Sophie deal with something like punishing the Zales family alone? Can't you two do a little more? I would gladly teach the Zales family a lesson too, but she had made her move before I could do anything. I wasn't even given a chance. Charles refuted. What could I have done? Are you going to blame me for not taking action in time? The Zales family was already in trouble when I wanted to make a move. Sean was also speechless. We can't even match Sophie's speed. Tristan remained silent. Instead of berating them, he glared at them without explicitly voicing his dissatisfaction. Charles and Sean exchanged glances. Fine, you can leave the rest to us. Sophie, your only task now is to keep Mr. Tristan company. Charles said. Okay, I'll leave the rest to you. She considered the Zales family's debt repaid. Although she was still furious about the incident, she didn't think she should get rid of all other members of the Zales family after their patriarch was done for. She wasn't that cruel. The incident only concerned specific individuals, so she wouldn't get anyone unrelated involved. When the three men were the only ones left in the ward, Charles advised. Mr. Tristan, you have to be more attentive in the future. Your wife is absolutely terrifying. I have no doubt that she would make minced meat out of you if you betray her. Sophie has such a mysterious background that our investigations have failed to uncover it. Tristan gave him a side glance. Say, Charles, what's up with you? Why are you always hoping for the worst for me? He questioned. How could I ever betray Sophie? Ignore this fool, Mr. Tristan. Sophie would be the one to dump you instead of the other way around. You would never think to do such a thing. Tristan gave no response, for he was tired of speaking to them. Are they really my sworn brothers? Just listen to what they're saying. Sean wasn't too perturbed when he noticed Tristan's scowl. Anyway, we won't be disturbing you any further now that we've got this dealt with. We're going to visit Felix. Good. Time for you two to go. Don't stay here and intrude on my time with Sophie, replied Tristan without hesitation. Charles wished he could beat the crap out of Tristan when he witnessed the latter's attitude, but that wouldn't be possible given their busy schedules for the following days. Is he seriously dissatisfied? Sean pulled Charles up to his feet. Let's go. You can't win against him even when he's injured. Besides, he also has Sophie. You would die of embarrassment if she were the one to defeat you. Sean, what the heck are you even talking about? Are you implying that I can't win a woman in a brawl? Are you aware that you're humiliating me? Consider this as him telling you the truth, said Tristan. Are you looking down on me, Mr. Tristan? While I might not be able to win against you and Sean, I can't possibly lose to a girl. Why don't we start a match to check? Sophie suggested right after stepping into the ward upon hearing Charles's complaint. Getting an answer is easy. We can always start a match. Charles was dumbfounded. If word got out that I was competing against a young lady, wouldn't my reputation be ruined? Sophie, I'm sorry. I don't want to fight you. Please give me a pass. Mr. Quigley, what's the meaning of this? Are you underestimating me? If that's the case, the more the reason to go through with the challenge. Charles gave Tristan a pleading look. Mr. Tristan, can you rein in your girlfriend, please? Look at how intimidating she is. Is it necessary for her to go so far? Sophie, I'm not underestimating you at all. Aren't we in a hospital? It's inappropriate to have a contest here. Let's do it some other time. Fine. We'll settle this challenge once Mr. Tristan is discharged. The man was rendered speechless. With that, Charles slipped away with Sean. No sooner had he emerged from the ward than he heaved a sigh of relief. Sean, what sort of woman is Mr. Tristan's girlfriend? Why does she want to challenge a man to a fight? Is such aggression really necessary? Sean peeled his hand away. That's what you get for running your mouth. He obviously deserves it. Charles was stumped. Is this what friends are for? It's one thing if he doesn't help, but why does he have to kick me when I'm down? When they arrived at Felix's room, they were greeted by an unwelcoming expression. Sheesh. Felix. Despite our exhaustion, we still took time out to visit both of you. In the end, all you and Mr. Tristan have given us is that unwelcoming look. Don't you think you're being too much? Enough. Now that you have seen me, it's time for you to go, Felix snapped. Over the last few days, he was relishing in the attentive care Isabel had showered upon him. However, the presence of his two friends might cause her to ignore him, which was his worst nightmare. Look at how incompetent you are. What's so difficult about cementing your relationship with Isabel? Charles didn't know what to say to him anymore. Can't you just make her yours by sleeping with her? Why is it so hard? Having enough of his friends, Felix ignored the comment. A person like you will never understand me. You're nothing but a stud who's not qualified to talk to me about women. I want to spend the rest of my life with Isabel. There's no way I'm going to win her over with such a crass method. Charles was rendered speechless. What's wrong with being a stud? Isn't it great to live this way? I get to enjoy the pleasures of the flesh without the commitment to tie me down. Fine. Since you're doing all right, we'll take our leave. That said, you had better come back and manage your company once you've recovered. It's exhausting for the two of us to be running 4 conglomerates, you know? Sean, it wasn't easy for me to get myself hospitalized, but I still want to thank you for your help. I'll give both of you a treat once I'm discharged. He was not only reluctant to leave, but he also intended to stay longer. You're crazy. This is the first time I've heard someone enjoying their stay in the hospital. Charles felt as if his mind was blown. Exactly. You had better know when to stop milking the sympathy Isabel has for you. Beware of overdoing it. Sean reminded him. This is the expression of her love for me, not sympathy, got that? It's clear that Isabel has feelings for me. Otherwise, why would she bother to take care of me? Whatever. We're not going to waste any more time with you. You should know what's good for you. Don't wait till you get on Isabel's nerves before regretting it. Nonetheless, there was no getting through to Felix, for he was currently intoxicated by his bliss. Sean had barely left when Isabel returned. As something came up at TS Entertainment that required her presence, she dealt with it quickly before coming back. Felix, it seems that you're close to full recovery. Since his wound isn't as serious as Uncle Tristan's, I wonder if he can already be discharged. Isabel, what do you mean? Are you sick of me already? Her words caused Felix's heart to drop. Have the predictions of those two jinxes come true? Now that my new album is ready and we'll be promoting it soon, I won't have time to tend to you. Ever since she was young, Felix treated her very well despite having a vicious tongue. Therefore, she was now returning the favor by caring for him unreservedly. Nevertheless, she was still an artiste and had to fulfill her obligations to her company. Oh. Disappointment crept into Felix. Am I less important to her compared to her album? I'm fine. You should get back to work. I'll hire a caregiver instead. Felix was visibly upset. When she saw the look on his face, Isabel couldn't help but feel helpless. Now that you're ready to go home, what's the point in staying in the hospital? It's really troublesome here. Wouldn't you be better off with more people to care for you at home? I feel more comfortable in the hospital. You don't have to worry about me, really. Go ahead with whatever you need to do. I have already taken up a lot of your time. Faced with the depressed Felix, Isabel didn't quite know what to say. All right then. I'm taking my leave now. As I'll be busy tomorrow, I might not be able to visit you here. Is she leaving already? Do I really not mean anything to her for her to go just like that? The devastated Felix let out a sigh. I'm leaving now. Okay. There was nothing else he could say, for his words had fallen on deaf ears. Consequently, he had no choice but to accept his fate. Geez. What am I to do? I can't bring myself to leave when I see how pitiful you are. Not wanting to put her in a difficult position, Felix broke into a smile. All right now, young lady, it's time for you to chase your dreams. I'm really fine. In fact, I'll get myself discharged tomorrow and head home. That way, you don't have to worry anymore. Since I love her, I should support the pursuit of her passion. It isn't right for me to stand in the way of her career. Really? Yes, so go on now. I too would one day like to see you perform on stage in all your glory. How can I not support her in achieving her childhood dream? All of a sudden, Isabel gave him a gentle hug. Felix, thank you for always being by my side and standing by me. He has been really, really good to me. Go now. All of a sudden, Felix began to choke up. He felt as if his daughter was all grown up and leaving for someplace far away. Unable to go with her, all he could do was stay home and play the role of a worried father. Do your best. I'll always be your biggest fan. No matter what, Isabel would always be the best to him. Okay, I'm leaving now. A simple hug had assuaged all his concerns. That was how easy it was to please him.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.